Schefter, you told us yesterday that this is probably not happening for the Cowboys, at least in the immediate future right now.
Right.
What do we know about their interest in Earl Thomas?
Look, here's the situation, Laura. We're seeing teams and coaches come out and say that they're not interested in Earl Thomas. Kyle Shanahan of the 49ers, who had been linked to Earl Thomas, came and said the team never discussed signing him. You had Bill O'Brien say the same thing down in Houston. And so one by one, some of these teams are falling by the wayside. Eventually, it will get to a situation where Earl Thomas is going to recognize that he's not going to get the type of contract that he wants. And once that happens, and he can't get the contract he wants, and he's getting a deal somewhere at or above veteran minimum, wouldn't he rather go to Dallas than anywhere else? And Dallas isn't going to pay the money that a lot of people thought it would take to get Earl Thomas. But if the price comes down to a certain spot, and there are people in the organization that would prefer not to make that move, could and would Jerry Jones step in and say, all right, we've got a bargain for a guy like Earl Thomas, and I don't care what anybody says, we're going to get it done. And it could head that way eventually. But Earl Thomas, again, is not getting probably as much interest as some people thought. And the Dallas Cowboys realized that the price might not be as high as some people thought.
Earl Thomas with 7 Pro Bowl selections. Marcus, is this Cowboys defense good enough without Earl Thomas to make a Super Bowl run?
No. If they get him, they are, period. Listen, we are talking about a perennial all-pro, Pro Bowl safety, hybrid, whatever you want him to play, he can be inserted. We just looked at Buda Baker, and we talked about his multiplicity and the things that he can do for a defense. You need guys like Earl Thomas on defense right now in this NFL if you want to win. What did the Kansas City Chiefs go out and do in order to help them put their defense over the top? They went and got Tyrann Mathieu. What did all of the teams we look at when they make moves for these players, when we see these individual moves being made? And I like what Schefter's point is. Earl probably won't get the money that he'll get. But every team that is saying no, they're not interested, know that they would potentially, if not for sure, upgrade their secondary if they brought Earl Thomas in to play safety for their team. So, listen, Jerry said what everybody needs him to say and what he was going to say anyway. The book's still open on Earl Thomas, and they probably going to go get him.
Marcus, I know we disagreed earlier, but I'm so glad we can come back together on this because I am right there
Yes.
with you. And I'm so glad you brought up the Chiefs, man, because that is the perfect example. A team with a superlative offense. Dallas was second most efficient last year per Football Outsiders, and a below average defense. That's what that Dallas Cowboys defense was last year. Did they get better? No. They lost Byron Jones. They lost Robert Quinn. Yes, they added Everson Griffin, but they need one more piece to make that jump that the Chiefs defense made from being below average to above average. They're not the best defense in the NFL. They don't have to be. They just have to be good. And with Earl Thomas, this Cowboys defense is good.
Look, I get it. It's what you do on the field, and certainly he does great things on the field. But, Dan, when you think about what he brings to the table potentially as a teammate, what are you concerned about?
It's as simple as this. Are you going to be an asset or are you going to be an issue? Because you guys have labeled off how good of a player he is, right? We can answer this question of, is our football team going to be better with Earl Thomas on it? Yes or no? Now, most of the teams are going to resoundingly say yes. All right, then if the answer is yes, then why are we not bringing him in? And that's where he becomes the issue or the asset. If he's going to be an issue, if you don't think he's going to fit in your locker room, then you can't bring him in. But you know you're a better football team with him. You know he's an asset to your football team. So if that is the case, then is it the off-the-field stuff? Is it because he just got let go from Seattle, essentially, and Baltimore? Do you think there's an issue with his money? That's the question you have to ask. Yeah. If you're a better football team with Earl Thomas and you decide to not bring him in, answer me why and justify it to your teammates.
Yeah, Earl Thomas has 30 interceptions, the most among active safeties, third most among all players.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.